All right, team, good day. I hope you're doing well. Today we're doing a little bit of mobility and stretch and movement for your rest day. Should feel really, really good. If you've got a roller, grab that. Otherwise, you don't really need anything. If you have a yoga block, that's also helpful. Let's go. Start by coming to the top of your mat, reaching as you inhale, reaching up with those arms. Inhale, exhale as you let those arms down. Just kind of nice and easy. Filling your lungs with air, breathing into the rib cage, expanding the rib cage as you breathe in, feeling the belly button pull up towards the spine as you exhale. All right. Last one, we're going to reach up, and as you exhale, you're going to fold forward, bringing your hands to the floor. Walking out into a plank position, hold there, be conscious in that moment. And then you're going to press into your hands, lifting your hips and bum back and up, away from your hands, okay? Into that downward dog. Pedaling the feet out. Shake your head. We're going to play in this position for a few minutes. So just kind of twist your body around. Find some spots that feel good to stretch. And yeah, I like to play around with movement a little bit. It's not always black and white. All right, from here, I'm going to do a little bit into the shoulders here. I'm feeling it from my workout the last couple of days. So you're going to kind of rotate your shoulders, get a little movement. We're going to do some more of this in a little bit as well. And shake out that head. Okay. All right, now we're stepping the right leg forward to the outside of your hands. We're going to walk that right foot out and to the side, and then we're going to let the knee fall out to the side and rolling onto the pinky side of our foot. We're going to reach our arm out to the opposite side. Feel that nice stretch to the side body through those hips. You notice the back knee is on the floor. Okay, we're going to switch sides here. So back into the downward dog, and this time left foot comes forward. Drop that knee out, roll to the pinky edge of your foot. And you just don't want to drop the hips and pelvis too much, so you want to be really conscious of that. Don't let it just fall. You want to keep a little tension in there. Okay, back to the center position. Nice runner stretch. You're going to take your hands to the outside of your front foot, and then you're going to straighten that front leg out. Keeping the feet planted. You're going to come forward, release. Okay, push the hips back, straighten that leg out again. Just a little active movement in here for your hamstrings. We're not going to hold stretches too long in this one today. Excellent. Now you're going to switch, but you're going to bring your right foot forward this time. You're going to drop your bum down and press your knees out. Okay, from here, we're going to take your hands to the floor. We're going to lift our bum, straightening our legs out. Okay, and really you can round through that upper back to get that nice pull between the shoulder blades as well. All right, so really stretching it out, just playing with a little bit of movement. Awesome. One more. Yeah, here this last one. And this time our left foot stays forward, right foot's going back. Okay, bending into that front leg, then straightening. Same thing, stretching out those hamstrings. Awesome. Rounding, tucking the chin into the chest. Trying to bring our noses to the knee. Our nose to the knee, not noses. All right, both feet back into that plank position, holding for a second. Okay, feeling the body working there, squeeze the glutes, and then dropping those knees to the floor. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of some scapular work here, scalp movement. So scapular is your shoulder blades, and so what we're going to do is you're just going to pull your chest down towards the floor by squeezing in between the shoulder blades, kind of in your right in the middle, kind of to upper back. Okay, and then you're going to press out through your hands, pressing the ground away, kind of rounding and pulling those shoulder blades away from each other. Once you do that a couple of times, you're going to go into some shoulder rotations. All right, so this kind of feels funny. If you haven't done it before, I would start really slow. We're going to go in circles, okay? So you're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together as you drop and bring the shoulders forward. All right. Try to keep your hips level in this one as much as you can and just feel that movement in the shoulders. You're going to switch. I believe I do 6 to 8 here, rotations each side or each direction. Okay. Then we're gonna do a little bit of wrist and forearm stretching here. So you're gonna turn your fingertips back towards your knees. All right, arms are straight, and you're going to just lean back, rocking back and forth nice and slowly. And just stretching out those wrist flexors that we use all the time. All right, once you're there, you're gonna do a little bit of work on those fingers and hands. So fingertips are facing forward. I'm just coming up into the knuckle joint, basically, in the palm of the hand, just to kind of get a nice stretch through the palm and through those fingers. All right. Rock back. We want to sit on our heels. All right. So this is going to stretch through the arches of the feet and the toes while we're also stretching our sides. So reaching up, leaning over to one side, and then you're going to walk the hand that's down on the floor. You're going to walk those fingers out. All right. Holding for a moment. Excellent. Reaching back up. Okay, going over to the other side, trying to keep both sit bones on your heels. You're gonna reach over, and then that bottom hand is gonna slowly walk those fingers out to the side. And that nice side body stretch. Open up through the chest, look up towards the ceiling. Excellent. All right. Back to that center position. We're going into tabletop. All right. Hands are forward. We're going to do a little low back and hip rotations here. So coming into that kind of knee plank, we're going to bring those heels up off the floor, windmill those feet side to side. My knees always kind of work their way back, so you kind of have to adjust your hands and walk back with those knees. Just do a few each side. Excellent. Going back into a child's pose. So take those knees out wide, heels and toes together, and then walk those arms on out to the right. Holding, feeling that nice side stretch just for an inhale, exhale, into the center, and then we're going to walk over to the opposite side. Left. Reaching those right fingertips forward a little bit further, getting that nice stretch through the side body and the lats. This also is a great one for your QL, which is a low back muscle, often associated with low back pain. Okay? Coming back up into tabletop position, bring your hands to your ears and put that elbow out to the side. All right, this is working some thoracic mobility through the spine and the rib cage. So you're gonna rotate, opening up that arm and elbow towards the sky. You wanna try and keep your hips level here so you're not rotating those hips too much, okay? And then dropping that elbow, bringing it in towards your wrist or your other elbow. Okay, just getting that nice rotation. Don't force it. Okay, I struggle with thoracic spinal mobility due to some injuries in the area, and so I really struggle with that. I definitely, you have to learn to listen to your body and don't go too far. Okay, so that's a little bit of a warm-up. Next, we're going into the full reach under. So tabletop position, reaching the opposite arm under, and just feeling that pull the shoulder blade away from the spine. Going up into that T-spine twist, okay, with that straight arm coming back under. The first one I want you to hold for a few more seconds. Okay, the next ones you can hold maybe a little less. Just a few of them each side. Awesome. Okay, we're gonna switch sides. Same thing. Reaching under, feeling that stretch, so really reaching those fingertips, really stretching and feeling the pull of the shoulder blade away from the spine. Feel really, really nice, especially if you're tight. Don't forget to breathe. Awesome. And back to center. Okay, we're going to do a little bit on the wrist mobility and strengthening. So come onto your fists, palms are facing in. You can walk your knees up, just play with the position a little bit with your knees and how you're sitting. Okay, what you're going to do is roll the wrist forward, okay, and back, all right on your knuckles. rolling forward and back to center. In a moment, we're going to go the opposite way. Okay, rolling back, kind of bringing your forearms down a little bit, trying to keep that mobility through the wrist and strengthening the wrist. All right, you can put a little bit more tension into it or weight into it if you're feeling comfortable with this. Okay, and then we're rolling the wrist out to the outside. I like to keep my fingertips, to open up my fists and keep my fingertips flat on the floor for this one. Slowly, and then now I'm rolling the whole hand, back of the hand onto the mat. Awesome. All right, fingertips, spread those fingertips out wide, press into the ground, and then sit back. Nice job. All right, reach those arms behind you, interlace those fingertips. Okay, pull the chest up to the sky. You can look up, getting a nice stretch to the front of the neck. We're just gonna kind of pulse it out here, bringing the arms away from the body if you have that. Just nice, gentle opening. Feels so good. We're always hunched over. Awesome. Now we're gonna place your hand on your collarbones, kind of in the middle. Press it down a little bit to keep the skin there. We're doing some soft tissue work. Open your mouth, stick your tongue out. I know this sounds kind of funny. Stick your tongue out, keep your mouth open, and look up to the sky. All right, if you can, slowly close your mouth. My jaw always clicks with this one, so at the top. All right, next, you can keep your mouth closed here. Now do the same thing. Okay, you're gonna look up towards the sky. Then you're gonna go like kissy face. So like kiss the ceiling a couple of times. You'll feel that nice stretch through the neck. This is from face yoga that I've been looking into because my neck is not nice and long and lean. I always get a double chin, so I've been looking into that. All right, back to tabletop position and a high plank, slowly lowering down to the floor. Okay, taking those arms out into a T position. And then you're going to take your left leg, bend the knee, rotate your hips over and touch that foot behind you. Okay, getting a nice pull through the chest muscles here, working some spinal mobility. Okay, as you touch your toe to the floor behind you, think about squeezing those glutes and bending that knee so you get a nice stretch through the quadriceps as well. So this is a great one for muscle activation, stretching, mobility. This is like a beautiful, I love this one. This is scorpion stretch. Okay, next, place the tops of your feet on the floor. We're coming up into, just from the forearms, into a nice core stretch. I want you to think about pulling those elbows back and pulling your hips forward. So as soon as you do that and you take that deep breath into the belly and rib cage, you feel an extra little pull through the abdominals. Okay, come down, wiggle those hips out a little bit, and then we're gonna come up one more time, pulling that chest forward. Think about pulling the chest forward, elbows back, and hips are dragging forward along the floor. You don't actually move the hips, but it's kind of like you're about to try. Okay, deep breaths into the belly and rib cage. On your next exhale, come back down. All right, you're gonna tilt your pelvis under, squeeze the glutes, and then slowly come up. Your knees are on the floor still, okay? Sitting back. We're gonna go into a little forearm rolling. All I have is this kind of squishy foam ball, which is not ideal, but if you have a rolling pin or a tennis ball or a physio ball, that's what you wanna do. So I'm rolling on right now, just quickly on the forearm flexors. All right, finding any spots, hanging out there for a moment. What I'm doing here is actually, now I rotated my hand up to the palm, up to the sky, and I'm working on the extensors. So as I'm doing it, I'm keeping a fist, okay, flexing, so pulling my wrist in towards my forearm, and then spreading those fingers as I extend my hand and wrist. So you want to do this active kind of stretching and mobility. This addresses the soft tissue work, which is not just normal stretching, it's active release. So we're really addressing the soft tissue, which stretching just mostly focuses on kind of the joints and tendons and muscles, right? So this, we're really working the soft tissue, which is it's really important. So switching to the other arm. So same things, you're working the extensors, make that fist flex and extend, opening up the fingers, and on both the forearm, both sides of the forearm. So the extensors and the flexors, same thing. Beautiful. This is great if you ever have any wrist and elbow pain. You find those tender spots, you can hang out there for up to 10 seconds, all right, as you press in. And it should be uncomfortable, but if you feel it releasing without increasing or decreasing the pressure you have on the ball, that is ideal. That means you've hit a pressure point, and you just go in like 3 times like that, give it a little self-massage afterwards, and move on. Right? This should really help decrease the tension in there and hopefully release some muscles and tissues. Okay, right now I'm doing something called skin rolling. I would just do for yourself, just self-massage the area, whatever feels good. There's no rhyme or reason at this point. I mean, there's definitely more to massage than just doing whatever. But right now, you're just kind of giving yourself some self-love. All right, feeling those tight areas, giving them a little bit of tension. You want to improve circulation as you put pressure and move the blood into that area. All right, skin rolling is something different, and maybe one day I'll do a quick tutorial video on that. All right, so slowly rolling. Just hanging out. So now I'm actually grabbing one of my biceps tendons just on the top and outside of my elbow. So I'm just feeling like I'm grabbing that muscle and the tendons and feeling the little bit of stiffness right around the elbow. All I'm doing is I'm grabbing it, putting it in between my fingers, my thumb and my other fingers, and I'm just giving it like a little squeeze, a little kind of pull and pressure, sliding my fingers up. So it can be a little bit uncomfortable, and see it better on this side when I'm doing, but it can be really good. You're really isolating that one kind of muscle and tendon and spot, just bringing again a little bit of circulation to the area, maybe bringing blood flow, maybe hanging out there for a little bit. Hanging out, enjoying it, just playing around. Everybody thinks that you need to have specifics, but sometimes it's just about playing around. So I had to skip there because I was helping Ramiro with some deadlift stuff. So back to stretching. A jump in the video. I've got my foam roller out and I'm laying on my front and I'm rolling out my quads. All right, so if you have that foam roller, pause the video for a sec, grab it, and come here. I'm just resting on my forearms here is great to help with that core stability a little bit. So as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm kind of rolling up and down, rolling up just an inch or two, and then I'm activating my hamstrings a little bit. All right, what this is doing is I'm doing that active release on my quadriceps and I'm activating my hamstrings. So it's kind of a dual kind of exercise or activity or task, right? So all the way down to the top, just above the kneecap. Don't ever do this on top of the kneecap. All right, slowly rolling up the thighs. All right, and I'm kind of sitting into one side here, one hip flexor. So right on the front, and my TFL, which is just on the outside of my hip bone, that kind of front bone that you have at the top of your leg there, just to the outside of that is a TFL, and that kind of goes into your IT band, which can often be kind of a sneaky cause of low back pain. All right, so I'm kind of finding a tender spot there, and I'm doing some leg raises on that lower leg again to get that active release. I'm not just stretching here, and I'm not just rolling. I'm doing a bit of both. So I'm rolling onto the other side, getting into my hip flexors a little bit, and then into that TFL. Again, doing some leg raises on that lower leg, I'm doing a little bit of work here first on the front and TFL for the most part, hip flexors, and then I'll roll a little bit more onto the side and just above the hip bone. A little bit of active work there. Just really feel it out. Try some different stuff. Okay, now I'm going into the leg raises. Sometimes rolling can feel like work. Awesome. Just feeling it out, hanging out in any areas that are tender. This is great. Enjoying your rest day. Getting an awesome mobility work in there, which we hardly ever do. This is stretching is not going to just do it. Strength training or resistance training is not going to just do it. All right, you need kind of that whole aspect, your mobility, stretching, and activation in order to really prevent injury and have a long-term success in your health without being able to sustain it for your whole life. Right? Now I'm working the IT band specifically, which is the outside of your upper thigh all the way down to the knee. Okay, right from the hip bone, your trochanter, okay, the bone on the side of your leg that sticks out, that's the top of your femur. Okay. IT band is pretty tender and tight most of the time. This is quite of a painful rolling experience for me on this one. I'm just resting on that forearm, slowly creeping up. I've got my top leg on the floor for a little bit of support, so because it's quite tender and sore. So it takes a little bit of pressure off by pressing into that top foot. Ooh, yeah. You can bend the knee there if you need to or want to. Press the foot into the floor. Press your the leg that you're rolling on. Press the outside of the foot, because you'll be on the outside of the foot into the floor. Just get a little of that active release energy. Okay, now I'm gonna sit on the roller. I'm gonna work on my hamstrings a little bit. So you're just taking from your knee. So you don't want to roll right on the back of your knee. Okay, there's lots of nerves and blood supply that go right through there. Is kind of an area that you want to stay off of. But anything above that and up to those sit bones, this is your hamstrings. So hamstrings have a couple of different heads. One goes at the bottom, one goes to the outside of your knee, one goes to the inside of your knee. Those two kind of main tendons that you feel when you flex your knee that pop out if you put your hands behind your knees there. So we're going to be working both sides. You can roll both, kind of rotate those toes inward and outward as you roll down the leg to get those two heads. Okay, switching legs all the way up to those sit bones. It doesn't have to be much. And here I'm pressing my foot into the floor as well. All right, so I'm rolling up. It doesn't look like I'm doing much, but I'm pressing that foot and heel down into the floor to get a little bit of that active release, or I'm pressing it in, but I'm actually pulling my heel back like I was gonna try and do a hamstring curl. Okay. Don't forget to breathe, enjoy these moments. This is that time for you. So I hope that you set it aside at the same time as you normally do your workouts. And get this time. If you commit that time block to yourself, you can do whatever you need to in that time block. So even if you're not doing a workout, it doesn't mean that you just don't do anything for yourself that day. You commit to that time block and do something like this: stretch and mobility, a different activity, some self-care, a bath, a massage, whatever it is, this is your time. All right, so finish with the roller. Okay, put those hands behind you, fingertips facing your feet. We're coming up into some bridges, so you're activating those glutes. I don't want to extend those hips up, but you want to squeeze those glutes and don't come up too far. I use this as a great front of the shoulder stretch. Awesome. Feeling that stretch through the front of the shoulders. We're going to do this again, but keep those hips and bum on the floor. We're just going to straighten those arms. So you're going to push the chest up to the sky, look up at the ceiling and sky, and straighten those arms. This also gets into the front of the shoulders, chest, but also your biceps. This is like one of the best ones that I've found to actually feel like I'm stretching my biceps out. All right, couple deep breaths there. Okay, we're almost done. Now I'm going to go into some hypopressive breathing, and I'm not going to walk you through this because I'm not a hypopressive trained coach. So if you want to look it up, it's amazing, especially if you're looking at any kind of incontinence. You're looking at after diastasis recti, pelvic organ prolapse, any of that stuff. If you're dealing with that, this hypopressive breathing is a game changer. I've just started using it, and it's helping you breathe properly and activate your core function as a whole unit. Like sit-ups and crunches are they're just really focusing on kind of your aesthetic and that upper abdominal layer. All right, so this, we really kind of get into the multifidus and all sorts of stuff that we don't often activate. So it's quite specific. And of course, like I said, I'm not trained in it. So I'm just going off of some videos, and I'll post a couple of them in the comments below so you guys can take a look for yourself. But it's really, really interesting. It's like called apnea. So if you do yoga and you've dealt with, been doing that, then you kind of have a sense of what I'm talking about. So here, like, I'm holding my nose, I'm plugging my nose, and then I'm taking a breath in, I'm pulling my belly button in and out. So if you're just here, sorry, I was like, oh, maybe I should have explained it before, earlier, but if you're not wanting to do the hyperpressive breathing, you're not sure what that is right now, you just stay in this position, arms are out to the side. Okay, I want you to take one foot over the other. Okay, press the back of your head in towards the floor, so kind of like you're giving yourself a double chin. Okay, and then you're just focusing on your breath. So what I want you to do with your breathing is I want you to try and relax your abdominal muscles as much as you can. And as you inhale, you expand out to the side your rib cages. So that's where I want your breath to go. All right, and just kind of breathing easy as you exhale. Try and feel your belly button pulling up and in, so up towards your diaphragm, okay? We're almost done here. You're just taking this time to relax, feel that breath, figuring out actually how to breathe properly to help maintain good core function. This is a lot harder than it looks to maintain. You just have to keep your feet dorsiflexed and all that good stuff. There's so many components. And like I said, I'm just learning, but take this time to focus on your breathing. Okay, breathing patterns, breathing into the chest and into the rib cage and out. Okay, so here I'm going to do a slightly different one. I'm going to bend my knees now. Okay, I'm going to pull my toes up towards my knees, taking my arms actually to the side and out. Press the top of your hands into the floor, or like I'm doing here, I'm holding my hands above my head, facing my fingertips together. Okay, squeezing those lats, so pulling the shoulders down and back, pressing again my head into the mat, giving myself that double chin, and again focusing on that breathing, expanding into the rib cage, trying to keep your abdominals soft. This is what I find the hardest part actually, is not engaging the abdominal muscles in the breath. Okay, just trying to keep it nice and relaxed and really focus in on the rib cage and pulling the belly button in and up, or letting it come in and up as you exhale. Okay, and I know that sometimes people think that breathing is a waste of time, but it's really, really, really important to learn how to breathe properly. Right, and I'm always exploring new ways to, especially this is called low pressure training. So if you have any of those issues with your pelvic floor and diastasis, this is where you want to focus your time on. Okay, really having that conscious awareness and learning different proper breathing patterns. All right, so we're coming up to our seated position, but I want you to find just whatever position is comfortable for you, okay? So I'm going to grab a yoga block here and place it under my sit bones. So I find sitting in this position, one foot is in front of the other, so I don't actually have crossed legs. This is good for blood flow. All right, so make sure that they're not sitting on top of each other, but one in front of the other, okay? Something easy. Okay, it might take you a moment to kind of get comfortable, whatever you feel most comfortable with your arms. I kind of hold my hands in my lap and touch my thumbs together. This is the most kind of relaxing position for myself. Right, so either you're lying down in like a yoga shavasana state, just lying comfortably, or sitting up. All right, I want you to focus in on your breath for another few minutes. Not few minutes, but few breaths. So 5 deep inhales into the ribcage again. Exhales, feel the belly pulling in and up towards the diaphragm, the belly button, as you exhale. Just taking a little bit more time for yourself, centering your mind, focused. And after those 5 breaths, just let your breathing come easily and naturally. All right, so relax the breathing, and you're just going to take some time to feel some gratitude for this time that you have. Even if you feel like you don't have time and it's hard to fit it in, this is really some important time for you. All right, so take it. Find 2 or 3 things that you're grateful for yourself, for your body, for your mind. You're grateful that you can get up in the morning, that you can move your body in these ways. Feeling grateful and thankful that you are taking this opportunity to work on your mobility and your whole overall health. Maybe this is something new for you, and that's awesome. You're trying something different. For stress and anxiety, this is an amazing, amazing thing. Sometimes it takes a long time to quiet the mind or to be able to focus. For myself too, meditation can be really hard. But eventually, you learn to acknowledge your thoughts and to focus your mind, and any kind of good energy that you can put towards yourself and your thought processes, any positive thoughts. All right, as you inhale positivity, exhale negativity. All right, just a few more breaths. Don't think about anything else. Just let the inhales and exhales come. And that extra couple of moments for yourself. We're almost done here. All right, and that's it. Thank you so much for joining me on the mat today, and have a wonderful day. You guys are the best.